January 2nd meeting of the Casa Grande Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. Erica, would you show everyone is here? Full commission's here, please. And are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Great. All right. Commissioners, we have the one set of minutes before us.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December 15th, 2024 meeting,
December 5th meeting.
or December 5th, I'm sorry, 2024.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Seems like it wasn't that long ago when we did this. Time for elections for chair and vice chairman. How would the commission like to do this?
I would like to make a motion
Yes, sir.
that we retain the chair and the vice chair unless there's any objection from, or do we have any other interest from the rest of my fellow commissioners?
Okay. Yes,
Just to make a recommendation, I would just nominate somebody for the chair and then have a second and then see if there's any other nominations and we'll go from there and then we'll do vice chair. Just to make it cleaner and easier for the record.
Thank you,
Okay.
Counselor.
I nominate Brett Benedict as chairman.
Okay. And I got a second. Any other nominations? Okay. So can we have do we need to do roll call or? Very good. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Brett.
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden.
Yes.
Member Hubbard.
Yes.
Member Peters.
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza.
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
Aye. That's my vote for myself. Can I say no? I should say no. Dang it. I always miss the chance to do those good ones. Okay, looks like I'm at it again. Thank you all. I appreciate the vote of confidence and hope to continue to earn that. So, next up is vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like
Yes,
to
sir.
nominate Celeste Garza as vice chairman, unless anybody on the commission objects or wishes to replace her.
Very good. Can we have a second? Second that. Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Member Smith.
Yes.
Member Aldrete.
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden.
Yes.
Member Hubbard.
Yes.
Member Peters.
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza.
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
Aye. Okay, you're stuck with us again, guys. Okay, next is our consent agenda. So the items that you may see as with the G in front of them, G1, 2, and 3. All three of those are on our consent agenda. So that all of them will be considered in with one motion and one roll call vote. We won't hear anything about those unless somebody from the commission or from the public would like to pull them from the consent agenda. And then we will have to take those out and hear them in order later. Anybody from the public like to pull any of those first three, G1, G2, and G3? Okay, seeing none, commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I understood that you had a question about G3. I don't know if that's something you would like to
I
offer.
do, and I'll get right
Okay.
there, thank you.
No problem.
Anybody? Any of the others? Okay, I'd like to pull G3 just for that one particular issue, not to hear the whole, I don't need to hear the whole presentation, but we've had some discussions, and I'd like to carry on with that discussions for G3. So if we would please pull G3. Anybody else? Okay. Seeing none, I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Chairman, I'll make a motion
Thank you.
to approve consent items G1 and G2 as presented.
Second.
Very good. Have a first and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, should we call the roll?
Member Smith?
Yes.
Member Aldred?
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden?
Yes.
Member Hubbard?
Yes.
Member Peters?
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza?
Aye.
Chairman Benedict?
Yes. Okay, let's go on then to H. Let's do that. If that's all right. And this is for public comments, general comments from anybody from the public would like to address the commission. This would not be for the specific items that we're going to hear, but anything else that you'd like to address the commission. So anybody have from the public like to address the commission, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll close the public comments section, and if it's okay with the commissioners, Jim, would you like to address the questions that I had? I'd like to start with you. You want to start, or you want me to start it?
It's up to you. I did prepare a presentation, and you know how you love those, but, but if you just had a specific question, I could go to a slide that addresses it.
Okay, I think our director has a suggestion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, why don't you go ahead and just express the questions you have, and then James can address those specifically.
I certainly glad to do that. Well, because at least I understand, a way to build a strong community is for home ownership. Builds a strong community, and because of that, we have fought hard. I don't want to overstate it, but we've always tried to keep certificates of assured water supply and be sure that those are filled, I guess is a way to say it. As I understand from reading through this one, this property had 281, I think,
Yes.
certificates of assured water supply. And in this presentation, preliminary plan, they are planning to only build 251 that would use, I guess would be the way to say it, these certificates of assured water. So I was just hoping to hear about, okay, well, the reasoning for that, and is it really important? Because I think for all of us, the reason we're here is to build a strong community. Just hate to lose those.
Right. So what you see on the screen, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Commission, is the currently proposed preliminary plat layout for Marabella. This is actually a renewal of a preliminary plat that was previously approved by Planning Commission in 2022, but it's since expired. But as you point out, as you look at this layout, they are only utilizing 251 certificates of assured water supply for the single-family portion of the area. The area colored in purple to the left of Hennis is a 25-acre medium-density multifamily area that, although is identified for build for rent, its zoning would allow it to potentially be developed for another type of medium-density product whereby certificates of assured water supply could be utilized to condominiumize that area for townhomes, et cetera. So currently on the table, they have 30 leftover certificates of assured water supply because ADWR had issued them being the developer, certificates allowing for up to 281 dwelling units. So there's technically 30 left over. Now, if they were to propose that 30 be applied to the multifamily area, they probably would have to do some sort of revision with ADWR because there's probably a slightly different quantitative factor. Multifamily units consume, or in the analysis that's done, they consume a little bit less water per townhome unit than a single-family unit. So they may be able to get a little bit more than 30, or an entirely new analysis could be done that might allow them even more than the 281, as a lot of the subdivisions are currently doing, because ADWR has revised their standards to say that if the developer can demonstrate that no more groundwater is being utilized for a proposed increase, then what was shown on the original analysis, then they will grant that increase. So my thought is that even though there's 30 on the table, it's not necessarily lost because they do have the option to potentially propose condos or townhomes within that multifamily area. I do want to point out, though, and I won't make this a full-blown presentation, but can you hit next on there? Oh, there we go. It's working now. This was the original preliminary plat back in around 2008 era. They had actually had a nearly 7-acre commercial area planned. And even back in 2008, yeah, they were closer to the 281. They were proposing 278 lots. But since that time, they had made a revision to remove the commercial. Also, Hennis, I want to point out, was a little bit wonky because, as you can see, it left the subdivision and then went back in. So there were some revisions done, and where Hennis was realigned so that it stayed completely through the development. This is the 2016 version of the plat. On this version, you see they removed the commercial area, but because they had to realign Hennis through the entire subdivision, they also introduced Arizola Road on the west. So that removed some lots, and so then they were down to 274. So with this latest revision, they're now down to 251, but like I say, there is the potential for those leftover certificates to be applied to that medium density area.
Okay.
So there's probably one other piece of information that the commission needs to be aware of, and James can correct me if I'm wrong. James, can you put the proposed lot pattern? Is these lots are pretty much at the minimum size allowed under the PAD zoning. So it would be hard, the applicant really can't introduce additional lots in that single family area, and we have zoned the purple area for medium density residential. But as James notes, medium density residential can mean a lot of different things, and it can mean smaller lots for either single family or for attached product as well. That might use cause.
Great, thank you. That's got to be my next question. Commissioners, anything, questions you'd have for Jim? Is the applicant or their representative here this evening?
I don't believe they are, Chairman.
Okay.
Chairman, I have a question. for
Yes,
staff.
please.
So this plat's been around for quite some time, right? Since, I don't know, 2006 2006-ish.
Yes.
As far as design guidelines or subdivision standards, is there anything that they are going to be grandfathered in that they would need to do now with the new, you know, we're 20 years from then, so I just wanted to know, I mean, they're going to
Right.
follow current standards, right, when they do
Correct.
eventually build?
You know, and actually, they've gone back through and submitted even more preliminary plats than what I showed you on the screen. Their timeline has, it almost seems like every 2 years, we're back in front of, Planning Commission proposing some updates for Marabella. But back in 2022, that plat, followed a PAD amendment where they introduced the medium density area, and then they also modified their lot widths and lot area to match the latest PAD residential design standards. So they took themselves out of whatever grandfathered status that they would have been beholden to, but on purpose, because these new 2021 PAD residential design standards were more liberal, it gave them some more flexibility, so they did that willingly. But the plat in front of you this evening is identical to the 2022 plat, and there hasn't been any revisions in our PAD design standards since then.
Great, thank you.
James, let me ask you is, you know, we did modify our sidewalk construction standards for local streets, increasing them from 4 to 5 feet width. Are they going to comply with the new 5-foot sidewalk width? Do you know?
So we would look for that at the time of public improvement permit submittal. And I'm not certain if they're made aware of that update, but they would have to meet the 5-foot local street sidewalk if they don't already have their public improvement plans approved. They may already have them approved because they had a final plat in.
Gotcha. So there may be the possibility, depending on what level of approval we've granted to the public improvement permit for this plat, which has not expired, that they might be allowed to build a 4-foot sidewalk on their local streets versus our current 5-foot standard. That all depends on whether or not we've actually approved the street construction documents, if you will, which don't expire right now. So but we'll look into that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any other thoughts, discussions here, commissioners? So we don't have a public portion, and I mean, unless somebody from the public would like to address it. Not seeing anybody's hands go up, so, any other thoughts?
I agree with you, Brett, and I don't like seeing cars wasted, especially in this community and especially in this environment with the amount of apartment complexes that are just jumping right in there, you know, so. I don't know. I think everybody should utilize the cars that they have for that purpose of single-family residences.
Yeah, again, to me, the home ownership is an important, an important goal for our community, and I just hate to lose them, even though, 30 out of tens of thousands is not a lot, but maybe, I don't know.
And the other thing is we're saturated with the build-to-rent right now.
Yeah.
Got quite a few that it is already zoned that. I mean, that's not what we're voting on now.
I know,
So,
I'm just commenting.
and that's not part of this preliminary plat?
Right.
Only the single families is part of this plat, correct? Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. That's all I'm seeing. That's all I recall.
Okay,
But
so the other will have to come before us again. All right.
well, and I guess we'd see this again, the final.
No, that would just go to city council.
Gotcha.
The final plat has to be in substantial compliance with the preliminary,
Gotcha.
but that's a council review for the final plat.
I was gonna say, though, that, to your point, with there being a current saturation in multifamily product, you will have an opportunity to review the major site plan for the medium-density area. And we don't know when a submittal will come forward on that. It might come forward at a time in the future when we are more warm to the idea of additional multifamily. But if we were to have that conversation currently, I think everyone internally has that mindset of recommending and encouraging a developer to provide a type of multifamily product that is not in existence here or in abundance, and that would be the for sale townhome product or condo. So that would probably be what we'd be advocating for on a staff level. And that might prompt them to seek more certificates of assured water supply, which is an option for them through ADWR, so long as they're not utilizing more groundwater than what their original
Right.
study showed.
I have a question.
Please.
On the build to rent, I know we're not talking about that, but if they do the build to rent, just for example, I'm hearing up in the valley that they're doing the build to rent, and then the builders, after they finish, they're changing the property to single families. Is that something that we would do too?
So, to do that, you would have to create a subdivision plat. And so they could do that in communities that have either enough cause to create those plats, or that they don't have the cause limitation. So here, right now, we know they could do that for 30 of the build-to-rent
That's what
lots
I
at
was
least,
wondering.
right? For sure, and maybe more. But yes, you could do that, but they have to have a cause certificate for each of those lots within a build-to-rent community.
Gotcha. So there's no way around it, even if they're, right now, if it's a rental, so they're getting around that situation. There's no way of turning all the rentals into single family.
No, the cause limits it, because to do that, you have to create
Okay.
a subdivision plat.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Well, I'll take a little bit of a different.
No, that's great.
Of course you will.
Yeah, that's, you know,
Yep.
as we've said, we appreciate having different points of view.
No, I agree with you. I do think cause are important, and we should take advantage of those when we can. But I also don't think forcing a developer to build 30 more homes necessarily creates homeownership. Yes, there are more homes, but I think homeownership is something that is so far above what this commission and even the city council could even achieve. That's an economic climate that is at a much higher level as to what would allow people to buy homes. So if we just force somebody to buy or create those homes, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to create more homeownership, unless there are things in place in our community that can incentivize that homeownership. And I believe there are some, but just to go and force somebody to develop those 30 extra because you have them in a cause, I don't think that necessarily creates better neighborhoods either. Because if we look at this right now, the rendering of it looks really nice. You have the gas line that comes through that kind of forces you to do more recreation around there. You have a lot of open space outside of that, even though, and then you even have a what looks like a landscape median. And so, which going through this whole neighborhood, it's going to look like a really nice neighborhood with open space and everything like that. If you had to go and force somebody to put 30 more lots into this, it's going to start filling up and it's not going to look as nice in my opinion. And that's where, when we look at some of the communities that we maybe show off a lot in our community and say, this is a great community to live in, we look at something like maybe Valago, and you see the amount of open space that Valago provides their residents, and all of that kind of landscaping they provide, and that creates a good neighborhood for somebody to live in. And so that's where I see forcing somebody to do 30 more lots. I don't think that necessarily creates a better neighborhood. I don't think that necessarily creates more homeownership for the community. But I do see those 30 cause as important, and I do see that they have a way to use those through the medium density residential. And so that's where I take on this, and I don't think those 30 are, like I said, I think they're important, but for this plat, I don't think it is necessary to try to force those into there, just because I think it'll create a better neighborhood without them.
Well done, well said. Anything else? Any other comments? Okay, I guess we're time to ask you for a motion.
We need a motion to put it back into the consent agenda?
No,
or do we
just make a
approve this-
motion to approve.
Approve it on its own?
Yeah, just to approve it on its
Or
own.
not to
Okay.
approve, yeah.
Oh,
All right, I'll make a motion.
just move to approve.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion that the planning commission approve the preliminary plat DSA-24-00207.
I second.
Do we have any conditions?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. I got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Member Smith?
Yes.
Member Aldred?
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden?
Yes.
Member Hubbard?
Yes.
Member Peters?
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza?
Aye.
Chairman Benedict?
Yes. Thank you all for addressing my concerns. I appreciate having the discussion, and sure hope they can creatively use those 30 certificates. They were very rare for a time. I understand there's changes that may help with that issue, but as of my understanding right now, it doesn't help very much. They're still very important to all of us. So thank you all. I appreciate it. All right, enough of my carrying on. On to new business. Looks like everybody here understands our process. So we're going to hold a public hearing, consider forwarding a recommendation to City Council for a zone change from I-1 Garden Light Industrial to General Industrial I-2 for Cash Grand Business Park Unit 3. DSA 24-00194. I would point out, I hope the commissioners got the chart that Jacqueline was so kind to be able to send on so that we have a good understanding of what we're changing to. I think all three of these all the rest of them have that same kind of issue. So Jacqueline, please speak to us.
All right, good evening, Commission. Why is this? Hold on. Why is it locked? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this request, a little background on the site, it's approximately 18.8 acres. It's located at the southwest corner of Lawrence Street and Thornton Road, just south of Helaman Highway. And this is within the city's industrial corridor. The request is to change the zoning from I-1 Garden and Light Industrial to I-2 General Industrial. Here's the review criteria for zone changes. I'll be going over these in the next couple slides, and they're covered in detail in the staff report. The first one is the action is consistent with the city's general plan, including the goals, policies, and other applicable elements. Under manufacturing industry, goal number 1 is to provide and expand the manufacturing industry land use areas to accommodate a variety of industries. And action step is to identify locations where it would be beneficial to increase the manufacturing industry areas within the city. And other goals is to encourage appropriate and responsible industrial development in appropriate locations and promote types of industrial uses. Item number 2, a rezoning conforms to the general plan if it proposes land use densities or intensities within a range of identified uses of the general plan. Requested zoning of I2 is appropriate zoning in the manufacturing industry land use category per the 2030 general plan. And third, proposed zone change is necessary and proper at this time to meet the land use needs of the residents of the city. The city's current demand for general industrial land is significant. This rezone would expand the available area. There is existing I2 zoning that adjacent to the property to the south and west, and the request should have no adverse impacts on abutting property. The intent is to build a similar building just to the west of this site, which is a multi-tenant light industrial manufacturing and distribution site. The reason for the I2 zone change is that I2 allows for a broader range of industrial uses and opportunities, where I1 is limited to that, in that aspect. And again, at the major site plan, additional analysis can be done based on the use to make sure that it is compatible. Regarding House Bill 2574, this zone change request is at the request of the property owner and is a zone change from an industrial zoning district that does not allow residential development to a zoning district to similar industrial use. So there's no impact there. Regarding notification efforts, planning staff and the applicant met all the requirements, and it did not receive any inquiries or comments regarding this request. So regarding recommendation, staff recommends forwarding a recommendation of approval to City Council on the zone change request DSA 2400194 from Garden Light Industrial I1 to General Industrial I2, the following condition of approval, which is our typical right-of-way request. So happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner, any questions for staff?
I have one.
Yes, please.
In regards to such zoning changes going from I1 to I2, are there any tax implications as far as it impacting the city? Does it increase the amount of property tax that the actual owner will have to pay? Does it reduce it?
Commissioner Smith, the short answer is no. Property taxes are based on building valuation, and you may have the same value building in I1 and I2, and you might have the zoning really doesn't relate to the value of the building. So the short answer would be no.
Anybody else? Jacqueline, what's the zoning to the east?
It is I1. So on the most of on the east side of Thornton is I1.
Yeah, on the east side of Thornton.
Yeah.
All of that, because I don't know, it looks to be the same color as the I2. That's all I was,
Sorry, I didn't
that's
make
all I was
that.
getting at, and I was trying to figure out, because isn't Walmart's distributions right there, and a couple others, I'm going, wait, that doesn't.
Actually, in land use industry. Slide you just showed.
Yeah, so this one's the zoning so this is the general plan color.
Right.
And so I know it's kind of confusing because it's the same colors, but it is I1 on you can see it's a little lighter purple on the east side of Thornton.
Okay, it's almost completely surrounded by. Okay, that's all. Anything else for staff? Okay, would the applicant or their representative like to come forward and talk to us a few minutes?
Hi, I'm Don Andrews. I'm representing Kentwood Ventures.
Can you give us your address for the
Sure.
record?
21111 Get Around Drive, Maricopa 85138.
Great, thank you. Proceed, thanks.
Okay. So I think we developed the property that you see on the screen to the west just last year, and it's been very successful. And we also rezoned that property to I-2, and it was very helpful in the tenant mix that we have in there. Currently, right now, we have 245,000 of the 314,000 square foot building already leased. And one tenant is already operational, and 2 other tenants are under construction right now. We've seen really good demand in that 40 to 60, but even larger sizes. And what we're actually also starting to see too now, our original plan was just build another building like that. But we are also seeing a lot of build-to-suits where a lot of corporate ventures are coming in and looking to bring in exactly what the city's looking for, true manufacturing. And in those instances, we really can't put them in an I-1 zone. I-2 is the appropriate zone for a lot of their uses, whether it be some of the product that they work with or chemicals or things like that. And what we're probably going to do for this site, we'll probably have a build-to-suit, and then we'll have what we have is, like the other building was a spec building. It's a very successful spec building. It's probably actually the most successful spec of that size in the last year, not just in Casa Grande, but probably even in Phoenix as well, just to be able to lease up and get the type of quality tenants that we have in there. And we still have a strong demand for that. And so that was the real reason to go to the I-2, is because that same type of tenant mix is having a really strong push in Casa Grande. And there's not a lot of sites that are readily available right now. And so by getting this to I-2, it opens up a lot more potential opportunities for what I would call better users. Not that it increases the tax, but we all know if we have a higher quality, better manufacturer user provides better jobs and employment than, say, a low-end warehousing project. And so from that standpoint, the I-2 helps us bring those type of users in.
Okay. Any questions for him? A couple things come to my mind. Can you expound on what you used the term better? What?
Sure.
Can you expound on what that means to
I'm an
you?
architect, just so you know.
No, I hear you.
I'm always looking at good, better, best.
Good.
But the reality is, when you look in industrial and manufacturing, we look at some of the users. And so what we would call on the lower end of the user spectrum in industrial would be just general storage and warehousing. Then they need a lot of area, they put a lot of product in there, but they're not really doing anything. It's just being shipped in, moved, stored, and shipped out. Your next mid-level is usually where we call light assembly manufacturing. And this is where users or products are put together, but they're not necessarily all the parts are made there. It's more with assembly type facilities and things like that, which is better, has more jobs. And then truly manufacturing, then we're talking about things like we have here, Abbott Labs, Frito-Lay's, PepsiCo, all that kind of stuff. And so that's the best, because those provide the better, higher paying jobs. They usually have more employees within the box, creates more product, brings a better service to the city and community.
Great. That was helpful. So, kind of in a similar vein, can you tell us much about the tenants that you have in or coming to the other buildings? What kind of things are they? What kind of companies are they? What are they creating? And
well, ARS is already open, and ARS is a refrigeration supplier, so they supply AC units throughout the community. They're supporting a lot of the home building, commercial buildings, things like that. So they have package air conditioning units. Graham Packaging, which is under construction right now, is more of a warehousing type product. The third user is a bigger user. I can't say the name yet, but
that's right.
Probably
we don't
all
need to
know
know
who
the
it
name.
is.
That's
They're
fine.
here. They're here, but it's expansion for a cold facility for them for their product that they make up the road.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Now I'll open the public portion of the meeting. Anybody from the public like to address this issue, please come forward, give us your name and address when you come up. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public portion of the meeting and bring it to the commission.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to forward a recommendation of approval to City Council for zone change request DSA 24-00194 from Garden and Light Industrial I-1 to General Industrial I-2 with the following condition of approval.
Okay,
A second?
have a motion, have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Aldred,
Aye.
Member Vanderheden,
Yes.
Member Hubbard,
Yes.
Member Peters,
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza,
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
Yes. Thank you. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, I-2 on our agenda, we'll have a public hearing and consider a recommendation to forward for Colliers Engineering, the southeast corner of Bianco Road and Illinois Road, DSA 24-00206, 130 and zeros, whoa, where are they?
A lot of them.
Anyway, several of them. Lost it. My printout. Jacqueline, talk to us.
Okay, so yes, as you were alluding to, this presentation includes 3 requests that I will be covering. A minor general plan for growth areas, minor general plan for land use criteria, and a zone change request. So a little overview on the site, it's approximately 66 acres. It's located at the southeast corner of Bianco Road and Illinois Road. I will note that this is currently in the county, however, it is part of an annexation request that will be heard by council in conjunction with these requests. So the first request is a change from Phase 2 growth area to Phase 1, which is a minor general plan again. And then the second request is a minor general plan amendment to change the land use category from rural to manufacturing and industry on just a portion of the site, which is the 10 acres highlighted here. And then the third request is a zone change from Pinal County General Rural to I-2 with conditions of records that I will be covering in additional slides. So the first request, again, is the minor general plan growth area. Here is the review criteria that is covered in the staff report. Staff finds that all criteria has been evaluated and covered, and staff finds this criteria has been met. The development of the site is proposed to be developed as an industrial site. Regarding the general plan review criteria for the land use, again, it's covered in the staff report in detail, and all criteria has been evaluated and been met. Regarding the zone changes, again, here are the 3 requests, review criteria that's covered in the staff report. I'll be going into additional detail on all of these. The first one, that the action is consistent with the city's general plan, including goals, policies, and other applicable elements. Again, under manufacturing industry is to provide and expand the manufacturing industry land use areas to accommodate a variety of industries. And action step 2 is to identify locations where it would be beneficial to increase manufacturing industry areas within the city and encourage appropriate, responsible industrial developments in appropriate locations. And again, this area west of, on the west side, with its near the railroad, has been identified as a major manufacturing corridor. Regarding rezoning conforms to the general plan if it proposes land uses, densities, or intensities within the range identified uses of the general plan. Again, this request is I-2 is an appropriate zoning district for the manufacturing industry land use category per the 2030 general plan. And third, that this proposed zone change is necessary and proper at this time to meet the land use needs of the residents of the city. The current zoning demand for general industrial is significant. The rezone would expand that area. The area does have existing I-2 zoning to the north and east. However, there is rural development to the south and undeveloped single-family development to the west with Desert Carmel. This is in the unincorporated Pinal County. However, there is potential for this to be developed in the future, so we do want to be sensitive to that. So we have included some conditions of record with this zone change, that no conditional uses for uses involving the storage, utilization, or manufacturing of volatile or explosive materials or products shall be allowed, and that all outdoor storage shall be screened by a decorative machine, block wall, matching or completing the principal architecture of the site along Bianca Road. And again, at the time of major site plan application, additional compatibility analysis will be considered based on the use. Currently, there's no uses proposed for this area. Oh, and that's buffer area. Regarding conformance with House Bill 2574, this zone request is at the request of the property owner and is a zone change from a rural zoning district. There is an abundant supply of low-density zoning within the county and city, and so this zone change to industrial will not have an impact on housing for low density. Regarding notification efforts, staff and the applicant met all the requirements. I did not receive any comments or inquiries. And I forgot to update this slide. I did send out notifications within 500 feet, not 300. So staff recommends, regarding the minor general plan amendments, to forward a recommendation of approval to City Council for a minor general plan amendment to change the growth areas from Phase 2 to Phase 1 for 66 acres. The second request is to forward a recommendation to City Council for a minor general plan amendment to amend the land use categories from rural to manufacturing industry on 10 acres. And the third recommendation is a zone change. For the zone change is to forward a recommendation of approval to City Council for the zone change from Pinal County General Rural to I-2 with the following conditions of approval and conditions of record. Again, one of the conditions of approval is that the zoning is subject to the annexation approval by City Council. The second condition is our normal right-of-way requirement, and then the conditions of record that I mentioned earlier regarding no conditional uses involving storage, utilization, or manufacturing of volatile or explosive materials or products, and the screenage for outdoor storage. Happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Commissioners, yes.
There's just one. You mentioned Desert Carmel, Jackie. Has there been any further, I haven't visited that site in probably 8-10 years. Has there been any further development in there? Where is there more people that could be impacted by this?
Commissioner Peters, it's an excellent question. So maybe a little bit of background information for the rest of the commissioners. So Desert Carmel, which lies to the west of Bianco Road, lies within the unincorporated area of Pinal County. However, it is a very large platted subdivision, and it was platted pre-Groundwater Act, which means it can be developed without cause. And I think there's like over 6,000 lots platted in it, something like that. But it poses some challenges to development. One of the primary ones is infrastructure, road construction, water and sewer, and some fragmented ownership, though there has been some attempts to various individuals to buy a lot of the vacant lots. Recently, we have had conversations with owners of a substantial number of lots about annexing it and developing it residentially within the city. So there already is some interest. The city is putting a sewer line right now in Bianco, and water infrastructure is getting close. So the infrastructure is getting very, very much closer. And so there is some interest. Planning staff is working off the assumption that it will be a residential development at some point in the not so distant future.
Okay, thank you.
Complete. Okay, to the south, what's that zoning?
So directly south is also in the county, and they are general rural.
Ah, okay. because there's quite a few houses there, although not, certainly not packed like the,
Right.
Where's the mobile home park?
mobile home park.
There,
Desert Carmel has a number of manufactured homes and individual lots, but they're individually owned. It's
there's-
not a part in there, so I
Is
don't know.
there, I mean, but there's like a couple streets, isn't there?
There is, yes, just a couple streets, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And-
More interior, off the graphic that you see on the
I-
screen.
Yeah. Used to live in the back. So-
Chairman, quick
Yes,
question.
please.
What would be the required buffer space, I guess? What would be their, once the site plan comes in, what would you require their buffer be from those residential lots?
So today, the minimum requirement for our landscape code is 15 feet. Just 15 feet of landscaping along Bianco. But, I would envision that both staff and the planning commission would ask for some buffer that was more substantial than the standard, because this is an edge in a land use transition between industrial and single family. So we have to be very careful to make sure that it's compatible. The good news is we're doing it with an intervening major arterial street, right? That helps. But we're going to have to think about, good masonry walls, good trees, additional setbacks. We're going to be sensitive to the building height, all of those issues which can be considered at the time of the major site plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, would the owner, the applicant or their representative, please come forward and talk to us?
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Cindy Paddock, Colliers Engineering and Design, 2141 East Highland Avenue in Phoenix, Arizona, 85016.
Thank you.
What can I help you with?
Anything you'd like to add, any questions?
Jacqueline did a good job in summarizing the case.
She did summarize very well for a whole lot of stuff. Okay, all right, okay, thank you.
No questions?
Okay, I'd like to open the public portion of the meeting. Anybody from the public like to address this, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 free minutes to talk to us.
Bob Kennedy, 1616 North Lucky Horseshoe Lane. And we have a little community right there on the corner of Bianco and Clayton, which this property is right behind us. And there's 8 or 9 houses there. We're all subdivided either acre and a quarter or 2 acre with horses, and everybody's got kids and everything. And we had a meeting a little while ago right down the street at Barnes's place, and there was not a single person for this. There was 15 or so people at this, and everybody in the area was against this, making that not rural anymore. Right down the street, they built the Kohler plant, and I certainly would not want that right behind my house. Any questions for me, or?
Nope. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to address this issue? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public portion of the meeting and bring it back to the commission.
I think this is pretty early on in what exactly is going to develop here, and I don't know if the applicant even knows what's going to develop here. And I think with the conditions that staff has requested to put on this property, that the rezoning, when it gets further, or once development gets further into it as far as site plan, some of those issues are going to be able to be mitigated. And I think those conditions help. And so I don't see much of an issue going forward with the zoning. It's just because of that idea that to the west, may develop as residential and that there are existing people to the south, that's going to have to be looked at a little bit more during the site planning. But for right now, for the zoning portion of it, I think those conditions definitely make it a much more tolerable rezoning for this I-2 request.
Right, to your point, there will be a time or two more that we and the public will see what is actually going to be planned there. As of right now, we don't really have a good idea of what actually is going to be built and what it's going to look like. This just gets it set to match some of the areas that's around it. Any other commissioners? Sorry I interrupted. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, seeing none, commissioners? We're at the point. And yeah, we'll start with number one. We'll do one at a time. Somebody have to have.
Chairman, I'll make a motion.
I have a question. Is it 00124 or is it 00206 for the first one?
Oh, good catch.
Is that a typo?
Yes, it is a typo.
Okay.
It should be
There you go.
206.
Set you up.
Good
206, right?
Good eye.
Mark would have caught it.
Go ahead, Member Van Hayden. You got it all figured out over there.
Oh, I just got the number. All right, I'll do it then. I'll do it.
Come on, it's
All right,
not that
I'll make a
hard.
recommendation. I'd like to forward a recommendation of approval to City Council for the minor general plan amendment to change gross phase area from Phase 2 to Phase 1 for DSA 2400206.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussions on this motion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Aldred,
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden,
Yes.
Member Hubbard,
Yes.
Member Peters,
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza,
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
Yes. All right. It's, now the city has to work harder. So
Shall I
next,
continue? Shall I continue?
that'd be great.
Board of recommendation to council for a minor general plan amendment to amend the land use category from rural to manufacturing and industry on the 10 acres for DSA 2400130.
I'll second.
Did you get the second, Erica?
I'll
Yes,
second.
yes.
Sorry.
It's okay, I got you.
All right. So I got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Aldred,
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden,
Yes.
Member Hubbard,
Yes.
Member Peters,
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza,
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, next.
Okay, we'll finish it off.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Board of recommendation of approval to City Council for the zone change request DSA 2400129 from Pinellas County General Rural to General Industrial I-2 with the following conditions of approval of record.
I'll second.
Okay. I was gonna ask, do we have any conditions on any of these?
Two of them.
Okay, you got that? Got a first and a second? Motion and a second, any discussion on the motion? This last one, seeing none, please call the roll.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Aldred,
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden,
Yes?
Member Hubbard,
Yes.
Member Peters,
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza,
Aye.
Chairman Benedict.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All right. So, we're now on I2, I3. Okay, next, public hearing and consider forwarding recommendations to the city council for request from Collier's Engineering on Bianco Road and Clayton Road, 283 acres, of minor general plan amendment and a zone change. from GR to I2. Jacqueline's still on, still the Jacqueline Show.
Good evening, Commissioners. Again, a little overview regarding these requests. It's approximately 283 acres located at the southeast corner of Bianco and Clayton. And similar to the last request, it is also part of an annexation request that will be heard by council in conjunction with these requests. Again, the first request is a minor general plan amendment to change the Phase 2 growth area to Phase 1, and a zone change from county general rule to I2 with conditions of record. Regarding, again, the review criteria for the growth areas, it's covered in the staff report, and all criteria has been evaluated and covered within the staff report, and staff finds the criteria has been met. Again, the development of the site is proposed to be developed as an industrial site. Regarding the zone changes, again, here's the review criteria. The first one is that the action is consistent with the city's general plan, including the goals, policies, and other applicable elements. Manufacturing industry goal number one is provide and expand the manufacturing industry land uses areas to accommodate a variety of industries, and action step to identify locations where it's been beneficial to increase the manufacturing industry areas within the city. Goal number 5 is to encourage appropriate and responsible industrial development in appropriate locations, which has been met. And regarding rezoning conforms to the general plan if it proposes land uses, densities, and intensities within the range of identified uses of the general plan. Again, the requested zoning of I2 is appropriate zoning district for the manufacturing industry land use category per the 2030 general plan. And that the proposed zone is necessary and proper at this time to meet the land use needs of the residents of the city. The city's current demand for general industrial land is significant, and this rezone would expand that available area. The area does abut existing I2 zoning to the south for a portion of it, as well as to the north. And however, again, that there is rural residential development to the north of this site. Pull that map up. And undeveloped single-family zoning to the west in Desert Carmel. And as you can see here, this is where there are the smaller, more urban lots in Desert Carmel. And so similar to the last request, staff did add conditions of record, in that no conditional uses for uses involving the storage, utilization, or manufacturing of volatile or explosive materials or products shall be allowed, and that all outdoor storage shall be screened by a decorative masonry block wall matching or complementing the principal architecture of the site, both along Clayton Road and Bianco. And again, at the time of major site plan, additional analysis to address compatibility will be considered based on the uses. According conformance with House Bill 2574, this zone request is at the request of the property owner and is a zone change from a rural residential zoning district, and staff finds that there is abundant supply of low-density zoning within the city and county. This zone change to industrial will not have an impact on this type of housing. Again, all notification efforts have been met by the applicant and staff, and no comments or inquiries have been received. First recommendation is forward recommendation of approval to City Council for a minor general plan amendment to change the growth area from Phase 2 to Phase 1. And second request is to forward a recommendation of approval to City Council for the zone change request from Pinal County Rural to General Industrial I2 with the following conditions of approval and conditions of record. Again, the conditions of approval is that the proposed zoning is subject to the annexation approval by City Council. And our second condition is our typical right-of-way requirement. Conditions of record, again, are that no conditional uses for uses involving the storage, utilization, or manufacturing of volatile or explosive materials or products shall be allowed, and that all outdoor storage shall be screened by decorative masonry block wall matching or complementing the principal architecture of the site along Clayton Road and Bianco. Happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
All righty, commissioners, questions for staff? Okay. Seeing none, with the applicant or their representative, please come up and address the commission.
Good evening, Chair and Commission. Cindy Paddock, Colliers Engineering and Design, 2141 East Highland Avenue, Phoenix, Arizona, 85016. Again, Jacqueline did a good job. The only thing I might note is, just like the other case, there is no planned development for this site. It's in preparation for future activity, but nothing is proposed at this point in time.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant? Nope. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, I'll open the public portion of the meeting. Anyone like to address this issue? Please come forward, give us your name and address for the record.
Bob Kennedy, 1616 North Lucky Horseshoe Lane, Casa Grande. There again, this is directly across the street from our houses. And we had the meeting, like I was saying a while ago, of the residents in the area, and not a single one was for this.
Sure.
Nobody wants to have this right across the street from their house or behind their house. You know, we're a nice little rural community, like I said, 1.25 acre, 2 acre lots, and this would be an eyesore for us.
Okay. Can I ask you, no, I can't ask you. Thank you for those comments. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Anybody else from the public like to address this issue? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion of the meeting and bring it back to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Yes, sir.
Consider forwarding a positive recommendation to the city council for the following request by Colliers Engineers on property generally located at the southeast corner of Bianco Road and Clayton Road. The first is for a minor general plan amendment to change the growth area from Phase 2 to Phase 1, covered under DSA-24-00182.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. To forward a recommendation to approve 182. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, Garrett had it. No?
No.
Oh,
No, he did the second.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right.
All right. Okay, let's call the roll.
Member Smith?
Yes.
Member Aldred?
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden?
Yes.
Member Hubbard?
Yes.
Member Peters?
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza?
Aye.
Chairman Benedict?
Yes. Okay, and we have one more.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion
Thank
to
you.
forward a recommendation to City Council for a zone change from Pinal County General Rural to City of Casa Grande zoning General Industrial I-2, covered under DSA-24-00131.
Second.
With the record, the conditions.
Yeah, with the
Just to be clear,
recommendation
you
and-
might have just said I moved to forward a recommendation. Just to be clear, it's a favorable recommendation, or recommendation of approval?
Yes.
Okay,
With-
just
with
want to be
those-
clear for the record, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion to approve, we have a motion to forward the recommendation for city council to approve DSA 24-00131, and I have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Member Smith?
Yes.
Member Aldred?
Aye.
Member Vanderhayden?
Yes.
Member Hubbard?
Yes.
Member Peters?
Aye.
Vice Chair Garza?
Aye.
Chairman Benedict?
Well, yeah, because we got lots of chance to see what we're gonna do there. I'll vote yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next, all right. Consideration of participating in ASU Housing Sustainability Project. Who's talking?
So as our speaker comes to the podium, I'll give the commission a little bit of background. If you recall, at our November meeting, I presented you with a proposal from a team from ASU requesting that the commission participate in a housing and sustainability project that they're working on. And they were looking for the planning commission to be sort of a focus group for the project to provide some input to help them create this this measuring tool that they're going to work on. So this evening we have Ms. Valeria Ladano here with us, and we have, I believe, Professor Mark. What's Mark's?
Yes.
Mark Roseland, right? Professor Mark Roseland on,
yes, that's right.
On Zoom as well, to present directly to the commission a little bit more information about their project, and to actually ask the commission to provide some a decision on whether or not you're willing to participate in the study, because there is some time commitment involved, which will be discussed a little bit here during this next presentation. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Valeria and Professor Mark Moreland.
Good evening, counselors. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. So as previously mentioned, I am Valeria Landano. I'm currently a senior at ASU, and I'm studying urban planning and Spanish. So this research project is of special interest to me. So I have a short presentation today for you.
We're having trouble tonight, yeah.
Okay, so the intro to our project, basically we are examining housing in the context of sustainability and climate resilience in Hispanic communities. Seeing that Casa Grande has such a big Hispanic population, we thought that this would be a good city to focus on. We're going to work with the city from an integrated approach, looking at housing, jobs, and environment, and we want to look at each of these areas in a way that we can kind of combine them and see how we can combine housing, transportation, and see how we can proceed with those things. We also want to create an affordable and practical assessment tool for smaller communities, because we have seen these in larger cities such as Phoenix, but we want to bring that to smaller communities such as Casa Grande. So our tool will help community members think through their integrated assets, such as housing, transportation, environment, in a synergistic and efficient way. We want to help avoid false trade-offs, such as when people have to make decisions between housing and transportation, or environment and economy. So we want to identify how single initiatives can have multiple co-benefits in this project, and if desired, we can create a Spanish version of the tool for Spanish-speaking community members, such as the ones that are here in Casa Grande. So the involvement, this is a 3-year project on housing and sustainability. So our goal for early 2025 is to create a prototype tool with the Casa Grande Planning Commission between January and April, and I'll go more into detail with the dates and proposed meeting dates. During the summer of 2025, we want to refine the tool, but this is something that we'll be doing on our own. The early researcher, Dr. Roseland, and I. And then in fall of 2025, we want to test the tool with Casa Grande per the direction of the Planning Commission. And that's something that we can talk about later on. So the involvement would be for the next 4 commission meetings, approximately 60 minutes each. So for the first one in February, we want to do kind of a project overview workshop and have an initial discussion about key data and what we want to focus on with our tool. And then in March, we want to have a workshop on community data priorities. And then in April, we want to have an initial working prototype to present to you and have kind of the discussion of what you would like, what we don't like, and then we will come back in May with a revised prototype and workshop next steps. So all of these meetings will be approximately 60 minutes. We have cut that down from 90 minutes previously. I understand that that is a large time commitment for you, but we would really appreciate, your involvement in this project. And this is our contact info for the lead researcher and me. If you have any other questions, I would be happy to answer them. If not, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Okay, and I didn't check. Are these are the same time as our meetings, as our usual meetings?
Yes, the proposal is to just add it to the agenda for your regular meeting. So we would agendize it, we take some minutes, and, it would be open to the public to sit and listen. Not a public hearing, but
Sure.
the public could certainly observe and listen to the discussion.
Okay.
Well, we're here anyways.
Well, I brings up two questions in my mind. Number one is for the commission. Are you ready to commit to sitting here another hour? And then my second question is somewhat facetiously to the two of you. You really want us, after we've gone through some of the things that we get to go through the commission, we're not always happy campers. So I just wonder about all of that. I just wonder about having it at the same time. Adding it on to these meetings is a good idea or not. I certainly get that, yes, we're already here, but I just want to pose that to you all. Get your.
And Mr. Chair, I'll take some responsibility for that, because after last month's meeting, I communicated back to Dr. Roseland and Ms. Ladano that, the commission was concerned about trying to find dates that would work with your schedules, and that, the most convenient way to do this might be just to add it onto your agenda. And I know it makes your meetings long, and the ASU team has pulled back the time commitment from the original proposal of 90 minutes to 60 minutes, again at my suggestion, to try to be sensitive to your time. But my sense was it was going to be very difficult to get the commission together at another date per 1 day per month, other than your regular meeting. But that's certainly probably something that could be discussed and would be available if that's the route you want to go.
I have a question.
And I get that trade-off.
Quick-
Go ahead,
I
I'm
have a
sorry.
question. The plan is for us to be during our meeting, and then you guys join in online?
Yes,
At the point,
after the
yeah, because I'm just
meetings.
thinking, you're going to sit there for who knows how long, so I get it now. Join in, okay.
Quick question, if we do commit to this, if you have to miss one, is that going to be an issue or can be online? Only reason I'm asking is I'm having a grandbaby the first week of March. And so,
Would you get your priorities?
Yeah,
I
come
know.
on.
I just want.
We could certainly allow for Zoom attendance by
Okay.
commissioners if you needed that, yes.
Okay, okay. We're due the 3rd, so, anyway, just want to make sure. Okay.
Commissioners, what's your thoughts?
I think it's a good idea, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Same night. Same night. I was trying to think about adding the extra night, and this makes a lot more sense, I think.
So with the proposal, would we extend our meeting to be an hour later, or could we start an hour earlier?
I would just
I
have to
work.
push back on earlier,
Yeah.
just for the fact that I already have to travel an hour
I have
earlier
a
from
job.
work to get here.
Yeah, I can't,
Yeah, I can't make it.
I don't get off till 5, so.
Yeah, good
So,
idea.
so like tonight, we'd be done by 8:30. Or 8 o'clock, I'm just saying, it's not
Yeah.
that long.
Yeah, it's
No.
not
Unless,
bad. Not a bad, we've certainly had worse
if the
meetings.
planning department keeps some not heated stuff for us, we'll be all right.
Jacqueline does all the presentations. We'll be done in a jiffy.
Yeah, just give us softballs for the next 4 months. We'll take it.
The agendas have been light since October-ish, so I think we can manage. Do we need to make a motion, or do we need to act on this?
Yeah,
I'm going to ask our attorney for some advice along that
I
lines.
mean, it's on here for a motion, so if you guys want, I mean, it's probably not necessary, we can just let them know. But if you want to make a motion just to make sure everybody's on the same page, that's probably the best way to do it.
I'm fine.
We all right?
Yeah.
We're okay? So
Yeah.
we'll just, it'll just be part of our agenda, right? So the public will be noticed and all that'll be ready.
So I'll make the motion if I can then.
That would be fine.
I make a motion that we participate in the ASU Housing and Sustainability Project
Nice.
as a commission.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
So this is the second.
Voice vote is fine on
Any
this.
more discussion?
I'm just wondering how much value you're gonna get out of an old white guy here that's in a Hispanic community that doesn't speak a word of Spanish.
I speak a little Spanish, but I'm still not sure how much I add. I would never try to represent that culture.
I know.
I hardly represent mine.
I'll do my research
I will
and
do
do what
the
I
best I
can.
can. We will do what we can for you,
Yes.
that's for sure.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please. Okay. So it passes.
Thank you so
got us.
much.
We're committed.
I hate being committed.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next month.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, where are we at now? Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So under reports, there is no administrative approvals of minor site plans. The Board of Adjustment did make a couple of decisions. They approved a variance for a side yard setback. They denied a variance for a 6-foot front yard setback in a manufactured home park, but they gave the applicant direction to come back with an 8-foot request, which is being processed. The board also tabled an appeal of a decision that I made, rejecting an appeal of a similar use determination. That was for the Buckthorn project that was going to house minors seeking asylum, but that project was not funded by the federal government, so it's been, the application, the major site plan application has been formally withdrawn and will not be coming to the planning commission, and so the appeals associated with that have also been withdrawn. So that one's kind of a done deal at this point. City Council did make a number of decisions implementing your recommendations, adopted some changes for the general plan amendment, and actually some of which we just heard tonight. Is that right, Jacqueline, on one of those sites? And also approved the zoning, the amendment to the zoning code for corner side yard setbacks. So that was, that's what I have to report.
Nice. We did it.
Okay. Did we see the development report?
No, it looks like we didn't run those, did we, Erica? So we'll email those to you, if it's okay.
That's fine.
We'll email you the monthly building activity and planning application reports.
Perfect. Commissioners, anything else? Seeing none, we're at the end of our agenda, so we are adjourned.
Yay. This is
This
the last earliest.
early you'll ever get.